Hi, and welcome to another presentation from your business tutor, learning your way, anytime, anywhere. When people think of inventory storage, they probably imagine thousands of boxes stored on shelves in huge warehouses. Whilst there is a lot of truth in this, it fails to appreciate that the way in which inventory is stored can provide a number of significant benefits to an organisation. So with that point made, let's introduce today's presentation on warehousing and inventory storage. Okay, so what are we going to learn in today's presentation? Well, first of all, we're going to find out what effective inventory storage is. Then we're going to investigate the features of centralised inventory storage. And then finally, we're going to explore the features of decentralised inventory storage. Okay, let's get started by asking, what is effective inventory storage? Many organisations will store items of inventory in a storage facility such as a warehouse or a storeroom until they are required to be used in production or moved to the shop floor to be sold. In general, such facilities have three main roles. First, they accept inventory received from suppliers. Second, they store it. And third, they distribute it when required. As such, it is clear that storage facilities have to be dynamic in nature, as they are constantly transitioning inventory from where it was received to where it is to be delivered to. Given this, it is absolutely crucial that storage facilities are well designed and organised. For example, they must have enough space for the level of inventory they have to store, so that the area does not become overcrowded, resulting in items being difficult to locate. But equally, the storage area must be kept tidy, and items should be stored in designated areas that are well labelled, which will make it easier to store and find inventory. In fact, and to make this process more efficient, a business should also ensure it has satisfactory storage equipment, such as forklifts or ladders, so that inventory can be easily stored and moved. Moreover, and linked to that, a storage facility should also have excellent inventory control systems that scan stock in using barcodes when it arrives and out again when it leaves, meaning a business will not only know what items it has in its warehouse, but also will help with stock rotation so that old inventory is always used before new. Nevertheless, although such measures will help with managing inventory levels, they can be undermined unless excellent security systems are in place to stop theft, such as using security guards or placing security tags on valuable items. Further still, having excellent systems and equipment in place are only useful if staff are trained to use them correctly, so that everything runs smoothly. And finally, a good storage area must maintain inventory in conditions that are conducive to keeping stock in top order. For example, a facility should be wind and watertight, but also keep inventory at a suitable temperature. Okay, let's turn to look at the two main types of inventory storage a business could use by asking, what is the difference between centralised and decentralised inventory storage? Centralised inventory storage is when an organisation holds all its stock in one large location, such as a warehouse, from where it then distributes items to its branch network or departments as and when needed. What this means, as the diagram shows, is that all suppliers deliver directly to an organisation's central warehouse, from where the business then distributes the inventory received to its branch network. On the other hand, decentralised inventory storage, as the diagram demonstrates, involves each branch or department of a business holding its own inventory in a storeroom on site. What this means is that suppliers will now deliver directly to each branch, and that the ordering, maintenance and security of inventory will be the responsibility of each individual store. Okay, let's now move on to our next question by asking, what are the advantages of centralised inventory storage? One of the main advantages of centralised inventory storage is that large warehouses have processes and systems in place to ensure effective management of inventory. For example, purchasing teams will be created which are responsible for sourcing not only the best inventory, which will improve quality, but also at competitive prices, which will reduce costs. In fact, because the purchasing teams will be buying in bulk for the whole branch network, it will be fairly straightforward to negotiate discounted deals, and because only one delivery is then required from each supplier, transportation costs will also be reduced as well. However, the benefits of purchasing teams don't end there, because using them can greatly improve efficiency in that the process of ordering inventory will be far faster. This is because purchasing teams will already have lists of approved suppliers they can use, and the ordering systems they have in place are most likely digitised, meaning the process of placing orders will be very quick, resulting in stock arriving sooner and administration costs being reduced significantly. However, the benefits of centralised inventory storage are not just restricted to purchasing. For example, warehouses are designed in a way that means when stock arrives from suppliers, it is easy for their vehicles to drop off what they're delivering at designated bays. Better yet, once the inventory arrives, a centralised warehouse will have systems and equipment in place that makes it easier to transfer stock into the storage area. For example, scan guns to log items into the electronic inventory database, but also forklifts to transfer items to specific locations in the warehouse. Moreover, and to ensure inventory is well maintained, a centralised warehouse will have areas that allow specific items to be stored in conditions that maintain their quality. For example, refrigerated areas. And of course, centralised storage areas also have the capacity to put in place measures that keep inventory secure and reduce theft through undertaking regular stock checks, using security guards and placing security tags on valuable items. And finally, centralised inventory storage allows a business to reduce the storage space required in its branches. This can be really useful because space that may previously have been used for storage can now be converted into additional sales areas. Okay, let's now turn to look at the disadvantages of centralised inventory storage. A big disadvantage of running a centralised inventory storage facility is that it is expensive to do so. This is because staff need to be employed, specialist equipment purchased, and rent paid for a warehouse. But even more than that, delivery vehicles and drivers will also be required to distribute stock to the branch network, which, when all added together, significantly increases a business's costs. However, the problems do not end there, as another level of administration is needed at the warehouse to process the orders received from branches. And if this is not well organised, or some branches place late orders, a situation could arise where inventory is not delivered on time, and issues of understocking occur within stores. In fact, this issue can be even worse for branches in remote locations, as they generally only receive infrequent deliveries, meaning any delays on top of that could be catastrophic. And finally, if the branches supply the warehouse with poor data on the levels of customer demand, too much or not enough inventory may be ordered from suppliers, which obviously could create stocking issues. Okay, let's now turn to look at another type of inventory storage by asking what are the advantages of decentralised inventory storage. An advantage of decentralised inventory storage is that a branch or a department may be able to keep a wider range of items, as they will also have an additional storeroom to hold extra items. This is really good because it doesn't just increase choice, but also means customers can get what they want without having to wait for it to arrive, which increases satisfaction. Another advantage of holding stock this way is that inventory arrives sooner from suppliers as it is delivered directly rather than through the central warehouse, which can be particularly useful for perishable items with a limited shelf life. And of course, having decentralised storage makes it easier for a branch or department to react to changing local needs, such as surges in demand, in that inventory can be ordered from suppliers directly rather than having to go through a centralised warehouse where an order may be delayed until a certain number of items are requested by other branches as well. Okay, let's now look at the disadvantages of decentralised inventory storage. A lot of the problems associated with decentralised inventory storage stem from the fact that the storeroom is not directly managed, in that there won't be someone who is specifically in charge of recording inventory levels or receiving and issuing stock. This can be an issue because it can lead to poor management of the inventory room. For example, stock gets stored anywhere, meaning the room is untidy and inventory is difficult to find. But also, accurate stock records aren't kept, meaning over and understocking of items is likely to occur. Further still, and linked to these problems, as inventory is often misplaced in a decentralised store, it is more likely to go out of date before it hits the shop floor, resulting in higher levels of waste. But also that theft by staff is more likely, as it will go unnoticed, meaning profits will be affected. However, the problems don't end there, as given the management of inventory levels is probably delegated to a branch manager, issues can occur if they don't have enough time to dedicate to this important role. In that, orders may not be placed on time, meaning shortages can occur, or expensive emergency orders need to be made to prevent this occurring. Okay, so what did we learn in this presentation? Well, first of all, we found out what effective inventory storage is. Then we went on to investigate the features of centralised inventory storage. And then finally, we explored the features of decentralised inventory storage. The way in which stock can be stored is no more stark than the difference between centralised and decentralised inventory storage. However, to see the choice on how inventory is held as a simple black and white decision would be a big mistake. As such, although many organisations will have a dominant way of storing stock, they will also be wise enough to realise that in certain circumstances, for example, to support remotely located branches, the alternative arrangements will also be necessary. Given this, many organisations may use an amalgamation of centralised and decentralised methods to minimise any issues resulting from storing inventory.